Hello, Ryan here, aka Mac, and welcome. In this video I delve into the world of ship components, specifically AI blades and what blade options CIG are planning. As always, a huge thank you to all of my patrons and channel members who allow me to make these kinds of videos. Thank you so much for all your support. If you would like to support the channel further from as little as $1 a month, all of the links are in the description below. So in a recent AMA, CIG expanded on their plans for ship computers, sharing some of the potential blade types that we will be able to install into our ship's computer. Now, before we take a look at them, these are just potential options. None of these are guaranteed that they will come to Star Citizen, but it does give us some insight into the many different varieties they are thinking of, and also some snippets of information as to potential gameplay for various careers. If you don't know, an AI blade is a ship item that slots into your ship's computer component to add or expand on functionality. Now, each ship computer will have limited amount of slots for blades, so choosing which one you want depending on the ship role and the mission at hand will take some consideration and planning. Now, the post did state this: hardware, new blade, or software loaded onto computer or blade. So it sounds as though there may not just be physical blades that you can insert into your computer, but software as well. Now, I'm unsure what the idea is here, so we won't delve too much into potential software, but we will go through the potential blade options that we might see first, and I'll offer some insight into what each one will do. Now, I will say that each blade will vary in price or value depending on how well it functions. The higher valued blades will offer better levels of that functionality, with the lower valued blades being a bit less effective. This isn't going to be as black and white as that, but I'm sure it's a good rule of thumb to follow. I have broken these blades down into roles to make it easier to follow along. So to begin with, we will look at combat specific blades, which are intended to increase functionality and provide extra assistance in combat in various ways. The first one is the main one that we have all heard about, and this is the AI turret blade, which will allow you to have a manned turret act as an auto turret without the need of a physical player or NPC controlling it. Now, CIG have specified that AI slave turrets using a blade will likely be less capable as a player or even an NPC, but it will most likely depend on the cost of the blade or the NPC character that you're hiring, with the cost reflecting overall ability. And I imagine that even in some cases, they could be better than some of the players that I have seen, as there are some terrible turret gunners out there. Now, I do expect these will allow you to slave one turret per blade, but in the case of the hammerhead, for example, you still likely won't be able to, say, slave all of the hammerhead's turrets on the computer, as the computer won't have enough blade slots to do so, but that is still something we are yet to hear or see. So the second combat blade is a missile defense system which automatically fires the correct countermeasures to avoid being hit by missiles. Now, this one I do love the sound of, taking that responsibility off of the player or the pilot, as they will have a ton of things to think about while engaging in ship-to-ship combat. However, this may not always present a successful decoy 100% of the time. The other downside of this is that this blade will only likely fire your countermeasure if you are the ship that is targeted, so it might not account for firing countermeasures to protect other ships. So for example, if you are escorting a hauler, getting in between the hauler and an incoming missile to drop a decoy will not likely function on an automated system. But if the pilot still has control of firing countermeasures, then it's not going to be such a big deal. The next one is an emissions controller, which allows the pilot to set strict limitations on emission production, providing additional warnings and even shutting down unnecessary systems automatically. So as you're probably aware, your ship emits signatures, heat, known as IR, and electromagnetics. Now, I don't think this blade will be able to change or reduce cross-section signature, but in regards to the other two, you will be able to set this blade to turn systems on and off depending on the level of IR or EM that you're putting out. Now, this blade will be great for stealth ships, just ensuring that extra level of safety, or even as a failsafe should your signals increase too high. One downside might be that it limits certain abilities at the time that you might need them, but I do think it could be useful for, say, bounty hunters pursuing a bounty, or any stealth mission in which you must stay hidden. For example, being in a terrapin and trying to stay hidden, or even as a pirate trying to escape bounty hunters. Now, the next potential blade is shield management, which provides advanced shield control options to allow finer control. Now, we don't know what this will allow, as we are still awaiting more general functionality from shields. Controlling things like the directional face and shield hardening will likely still be classed as general shield management, so beyond that I have no idea. Do let me know what additional shield functionality you would like to see with your ships in the comments below. I am all ears. So the final combat blade in the list is an item locking blade. This further enhances the targeting system to allow the pilot to lock onto specific parts of ships so they are able to take out individual systems. Now this is quite an interesting one, although I originally thought it would be something that you could do anyway, being able to target specific systems. Maybe this is only available via a blade, or potentially it's only available for certain combat orientated ships, meaning that you could add this functionality to non-combat specific ships with this blade. Either way, a blade to improve targeting is going to be very useful and should drive some interesting tactics. It could be used by bounty hunters or pirates alike to disable a ship rather than kill it to capture or steal its cargo. So a good choice blade for both career paths. Now there was a single blade for mining that was mentioned, which is intended to speed up mining scans and provide additional information like pinpointing pockets of ore or mineral densities. Now this sounds like it could be a very useful blade for any miner, especially when CIG have mining veins and more concentrated areas of minerals rather than the current scattered mineable rocks. This will probably be a necessity for finding the best concentrations of ore, scanning more thoroughly to give you a better understanding of what minerals are available and their densities will give you a much better chance of making more UEC. But I would expect to see a much larger variety of mining blades in the future, but this is a good start and I do like this idea. So next up, data running is a mechanic that we are yet to receive in Star Citizen's PU, but they have suggested a potential blade to aid in this profession, and it is a encryption or decryption blade, giving the ability to keep data encrypted to prevent theft, and also provides the means to attempt to decrypt the data. Now, we have no idea of how this mechanic will work, but the use of a blade to help keep data safe does sound like a good idea. Maybe it'll provide an early warning that someone is trying to decrypt your data, or help bypass any encryptions perhaps. I'm very excited to see the data running mechanic come to the PU, especially with the Mercury Star Runner coming to the 311 build one of these days. Talking of which, we have hit 30,000 subscribers, so the minute that the Star Runner becomes available to buy, I will be picking one up to give away to say thank you to everyone for getting me to the 30,000 mark, so do ensure that you are subbed if you want to be in with a chance to win that. So there was a single suggestion for a salvaging blade, saying that a salvaging database blade will help speed up scanning wrecks and provide additional information like pinpointing valuable ship items and showing materials contained within wrecks. Now I really love the sound of this one. When this mechanic comes along, part of the skill element will be knowing exactly what part of any ship is most valuable. Obviously, once you've extracted things like components and weaponry, deciding which part of the ship holds the most value will be something that, if learnt, will provide a much greater reward than just salvaging everything, as every material on the ship, be that certain armor plating, different areas of the hull or whatever, will have varying degrees of value. Now this blade will likely help to determine the value of particular materials, giving you an idea of what you should concentrate on or which items are more worth your time, but I would like to think that there will be handheld scanners to do a similar thing. But for ships like the Reclaimer or the Vulture, for example, using your ship scanners to highlight these valuable areas will save a lot of time, maybe pinning them as well so that you know which ones to go for first. So for all the bounty hunters out there, you will have a blade as well. They've said this is a criminal database which provides a list of known criminals or unlawful activity and the ability to accept bounties to track them down and bring them to justice. Now personally, I think this should be just represented via the Bounty Hunters Guild apps rather than a blade. Maybe giving you additional tracking information would be better suited for a bounty hunting blade, like potential destinations someone could have jumped to based on percentages, or maybe a specific ship tracker allowing you to track and follow certain ships. The app that you download for your Mobiglass once you join a bounty hunting guild, they have said will likely provide you with information on the known criminals in the area and their last known positions, plus keep you up to date of their activity. So a blade is probably not best suited for that, but that is just my 2 cents on that one. Now on the opposite side of the law, we do have a piracy blade or a pirate blade, which is what they call a hit list, similar to a criminal database for the bounty hunters. but this is used by criminals so they can view and accept contracts to take out certain targets. Now again, personally similar to the bounty hunting blade, I think if you were to get a hit list, it would come from a particular pirate org or group, as every pirate group's list would vary depending on who's wronged them. I would love to see potential blades for pirates maybe helping to indicate the general locations of law enforcement, kind of like a police scanner, and give you more information on evading them perhaps. If there is a hit out for someone, it should really come directly from the group itself, in my opinion. Do let me know your thoughts on both the bounty hunting and pirate blades, and whether you agree or disagree with me on this. I would like to know your thoughts. So there is a potential trading blade as well, called a trade database, which allows traders to view the buy and sell prices in different places in the verse while you're on the move, rather than having to be at a trade station. Now I can see this being very useful, but they have mentioned in the past the idea of a trading app that gives you real-time price fluctuations. As a blade, I can see it working, so we'll have to see how that develops. But there was one other blade that kind of ties into trade and exploration, giving you enhanced route navigation, so giving you an enhanced star map or navigation options, showing the pilot how dangerous certain routes are and enabling them to pick routes based on speed, safety, or avoiding certain areas. Now this I do like, giving you that extra real-time information about routes and locations to help you determine the best route to take. I think that would be great for both trading and exploration. So talking of exploration, alongside the last blade I just mentioned, exploration has another potential blade choice called a stellar charting system, making it easier to discover jump points if and when they move elsewhere, possibly making jump travel easier. So firstly, that gives us some insight into what CIG could be planning for jump point plotting. Having jump points move location and require teams to continuously replot them could make up some interesting bread and butter missions for those types of ships, but also a blade that helps in some way. Now I'm not entirely sure how this will work, as we obviously have little information on this subject, but maybe it's a bit more sensitive to spotting jump point anomalies, but either way it'll be a blade that I'm sure most Carracks will have permanently installed. So for smuggling, they gave us one potential blade choice for the list, which is a cargo manifest masker, which disguises the items in your cargo manifest to allow you to hide contraband from initial ship scans. Now I really like this one, as it does kind of give you extra help in getting past scans. When they say initial ship scans, I'm assuming it'll mean if the UEE are randomly scanning you or as you pass through security checkpoints, masking enough to get you through them without raising the alarm. If, however, someone on board scans further or has a better scanner, maybe it would not help and actually potentially hinder you, especially if someone checks your ship's computer and finds that you have a smuggling blade. That would definitely raise some questions, but I do like this. So to finish with, there was a couple of blades that they state are for larger ships only. The first one is a drone management blade, which allows ships to control onboard drones. Now, I'm not really sure how this is going to work. All I can think is that instead of players having control of the ship drones, it will just automate them, which I thought was always going to be an option anyway, but do let me know what you guys think of this. And the second blade is an internal security system blade that provides internal ship information, positions of life forms aboard the ship, and the ability to lock and unlock individual doors. Now, this sounds very exciting and is a system that I am very much looking forwards to, but I was always under the impression that it would be something we could do from the bridge of our ships as standard, without the need of a blade. So I hope they don't limit it to blade functionality only, as I do love the thought of seeing an unknown life form on board via the ship systems and having a team go and investigate or check this out. Or using the ship systems to make pirate boarders' lives more difficult, like we've heard in the past, being able to vent rooms, lock doors, or switch off gravity. Limiting this behaviour to a blade seems like a bad idea, so I hope it's not going to be the case, but I am yet to hear more on it. So that is the list of all the current blade types that Todd Papy listed as potential options when this gameplay functionality comes along. I'm sure they have a huge list of other potential options, and that list will likely grow as the game develops further. They are currently working on getting all components physicalized into your ships, like the power plants, shield generators, computers. I do think that the iCache is a necessity for this, so we won't likely see these blades come until next year at the earliest, but it is a great insight into what types of blades we will be buying, installing, upgrading, salvaging and selling when the time does come. Do let me know what types of blades you would like to see in the comments below, and be sure to hit that subscribe button if you would like to be in with a chance to win the Mercury Star Runner. Tick that notification bell if you want to be notified when my videos go live, and hit the like button if you don't mind. It really does the channel a big favour. Do come and hang out over on twitch.tv/supermacbrothers. The link is in the description. Everybody is welcome. We are having some great conversations about Star Citizen and having some fun in 3.11 as well. Again, thank you to my patrons and channel members for allowing me to do these kinds of videos. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.